A few weeks ago I had the opportunity to swim with and photograph one of my favourite animals. It's been a goal of mine for a long time now to swim alongside Humpback Whales. In the past few years I've had a lot of opportunities to see whales from above the boat in both Hawaii and the Amami Islands, but I had never managed to swim alongside them until this trip. To swim with the whales, I travelled to the Amami Islands, which are located in the south of Japan. This island chain is located between the mainland of Japan and Okinawa, so I'll put that up on the map quickly right now. The Amami Islands are located within the red circle, and I spent 4 days on the main island of Amami and 4 days on Tokonashima Island to swim with the whales. This was the first time for me visiting this island chain, so the time I wasn't in the water I spent exploring the islands. This was the first whale swim of the trip. On Amami Island there's lots of tour operators that will take you out on boat to swim with the whales, but just make sure to book early as they fill up pretty fast. As soon as we left the harbour we came across a mother and calf whale, which was pretty lucky, but unfortunately the weather on this day wasn't too good, so the conditions were a little bit difficult for photos. For underwater photography, the weather and water clarity is one of the most important factors to get a nice photo, and when there's no sunlight the underwater is very dark and you're not going to get very clear pictures or videos of your subject. So I've seen whales many times above water in both Amami Islands and Hawaii, where I used to live, but this was the first time actually swimming alongside them and it was a completely different experience. Like I said earlier, the conditions weren't great, but here are some of the photos I took on the first day of whale swimming. In between the whale swims we spent the rest of the time exploring these islands, as it was my first time visiting, and I'm currently working on a POV photography video for this trip, so hopefully I can get that uploaded sometime next week. This was from the second day of whale swimming at the Amami Island, and as you can see the weather was a lot better than the first day. As we were looking for the whales, we came across a pod of dolphins, but these were the only animals that we saw in the first few hours of the trip. After a few hours of searching we finally found some whales. Because they're wild animals it's not a guarantee that you'll see them every day or every time you go out. I think that's also one of the reasons why I find the ocean so exciting, is that you're never 100% sure on what you're going to see. This particular encounter was with two full-grown adult whales, and when they're full-grown they're between 12 to 15 meters long. The second whale trip we didn't have too much luck with the whales, and this was the only decent video footage that I got. And then we moved to the Tokonashima Islands for the second half of our trip. The weather was so much better at Tokonashima Islands, and we also had a lot more luck with the encounters with the whales. Once a whale is spotted, we all sit on the back of the boat like this and wait for the captain to give us the go signal. This was a loggerhead turtle we came across while looking for the whales. The rest of the day we spent with this mother and calf whale that seemed to be pretty interested in the presence of the boat and us, so they would keep swimming around our group. For the video footage that you can see right now, I shot with the GoPro Hero 10, and the photos I took with the Sony A7III inside a Aquatech imaging housing. And the settings that I used are shown in some of the photos, and also I have other videos on my channel that introduce the settings that I use for underwater photography, and also my underwater GoPro settings can be found in some of the other videos. And this was the last whale sim on the trip as they slowly swam away into the blue. I posted a lot of photos from this trip to my Instagram, so please check me out there if you're interested in seeing some of the photos. And thank you so much for watching, and as always I will see you in the next video.